GMs are almost here, and I wanted to take a couple minutes to break down what I plan to use on my hunter for the first week. The first GM is the Insight Terminus. There are a couple really important details that will help you with crafting your build for this week. The first thing to know is the acute burn is void. What that essentially means is that you take a lot more void damage, but you also output a lot more void damage. There are 7 void shields throughout, and there are 10 barrier champions and 4 unstoppable champions. Now, the weapon of the week is Mindbender's Adept. Some of you may not care about that. I actually think it feels really good. I made a video about it a little while ago. I think I'm personally going to farm this at least a little bit to try to get the perfect roll. You can see here I got really close to what I wanted. If this had dropped with Smallborn or Range Masterwork, I would have been set. But let's go ahead and break down what I'm using, starting with the subclass. I've been really enjoying Arc 3.0 in PvE and PvP, so I wanted to bring it into GMs and just kind of see how it works. I did some test runs doing solo Spire the Watcher, and I found this build to be incredibly strong. So you may recognize some of this as it's very similar to what I was running for that. First off, we're using Gathering Storm paired with Star Eater Scales. This thing does crazy damage. It's also pretty good for ad clear in PvE. Gambler's Dodge paired with Combination Blow. Now, the reason that I plan to use this specifically is that I can just infinitely chain these two abilities. Basically, my dodge gives me my melee gives me my dodge. I run strafe jump. I refuse to put on triple jump even in PvE, even during jumping puzzles. I really don't care. I'll never take off strafe jump. Combination Blow states a quick strike that temporarily increases your melee damage when defeating a target, stacking 3 times, and it's a lot of damage. Defeating the targets with this ability also fully refills your class ability energy, as I mentioned, and restores a small amount of health. That little bit of extra health is really important in staying alive, and the amount of damage that you output tends to be enough to kill those tankier enemies in GMs. I personally am running Storm Grenades. They're great at ad clear, great at zone control. You know these pretty well if you've played any PvP in the last 4 months. Now, the aspects that I have equipped are Flow State. This states that defeating a jolted target makes you amplified, and while you are amplified, your dodge recharges more quickly, you are more resilient while dodging, and your reload speed is greatly increased. This is extremely useful in a lot of situations, especially in endgame PvE, because you get that dodge back that you can spam to get your melee back. You also get extra damage resistance, and then on top of that, your reload speed increase is actually really nice. It's a huge reload speed increase. Think Frenzy type plus 50 reload speed. The second aspect is Lethal Current. After dodging, your next melee attack has increased lunge range, jolts the target, and creates a damaging aftershock. Damaging any jolted targets with melee attacks also blinds them. Hugely beneficial for ad clear. Like, I can go into a room and just dodge and punch everything. I'm going to be testing this out in GMs to see how it feels, but I have a good feeling about it after doing my solo dungeon. Now, the fragments that I choose to pair with this Spark of Focus, after sprinting for a short time, your class ability regeneration is increased. This is just in case I don't have my dodge. If I need it, I can run, I can sprint around in circles, I can hide behind cover and sprint type thing to get it back. Finishers make you amplified. This also procs Flow State. So you get the benefit of that dodge recharging quicker, the more resilience when dodging, and the reload speed increased just by doing those finishers. This one is also great as you're getting in close range to be able to punch these targets to proc all of these abilities. So taking melee damage briefly increases your outgoing melee damage. And this stacks with a whole ton of stuff I'll get into in a minute. And the last one, while surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage. I think this will be hugely beneficial for the middle room of Insight Terminus and the final boss room, as there tend to be a lot of red bar enemies kind of running around in circles. You'll see this proccing on the left side of your screen pretty often. Now, I'm pairing this with Hands On, which gives me super energy on melee kill, and it does count those chained kills. Pretty straightforward here. I'm running a submachine gun loader. I also have Unstoppable Hand Cannon on. I'll get into that in a minute. Well of Ions. This one is really nice. Picking up an Arc Elemental Well causes your next melee to deal increased damage. All of that stacks with Combination Blow. So if you get a melee kill with Combination Blow, and that procs an Elemental Well, you pick it up, you get increased damage, and you still have Combination Blow stacks. So you do crazy damage, which then also gives you your super energy back because of Hands On in the helmet. Melee Well Maker is where we're going to get the bulk of our elemental wells. Those melee kills proc and drop those wells all over the place. Now, Orbs of Restoration, this one I really enjoy, but you don't have to use it. It just states that picking up an Orb of Power grants a small amount of energy to your ability with the least energy. You can use this to just keep almost 100% ability uptime. Now, for Font of Might, as of right now, I am only using an Arc primary weapon. I've got my Aikilos SMG on me, so I will only get increased damage on the Aikilos SMG. But that may be beneficial to clear ads out if I'm in a situation where I need to use my primary. Now, here's where things get really beneficial for GMs. All of these work together really well. I'm going to go ahead and break down what they do, and then I'll explain the workflow. The Lucent Finisher. Defeating a Lucent Hive Lightbearer or champion with your finisher spawns heavy ammo for you and your allies. If you think back to Aeons, when you do that finisher attack, you do not get that ammo, just your teammates do. So this gives it to both of you guys, or to all three of you in GM's case. Advanced Scout. Champions you stun take additional damage from teammates. This is a huge and noticeable amount of extra damage. Just by stunning a champion, your teammates can do additional damage, making it super easy to clear them out. And the last one turns your Arc Melee into an unstoppable champion mod. Now, all three of these work really well together. You can essentially run up, dodge to a combination blow, punch an unstoppable champion. That then makes you and your teammates do additional damage to him with this mod. And once he is almost dead, you do a finisher to proc Lucent Finisher, which gives everybody heavy ammo, makes you amplified at the same time, and gives you a faster dodge recharge, makes you have increased damage resistance, and boosts your reload speed significantly. Now, as far as weapons go, I'm running Arbalest. It's a really obvious choice. A lot of people are running this in GMs because you can stun any anti-barrier champion with one body shot with it. You also get to break any type of shield, which leads me into why I'm using Aikilos. So Void Burn would make me do additional damage with a Void weapon. I do know that. There are also only Void shields in the strike. So I personally am going to be using this because it pairs really well with my fragments and aspects. Bolt Shot's also really nice because you do that additional damage to the next target if you're hitting them with Jolt. And absolute worst case, I have two other weapons to fall back to if I need to. One of them being Funnel Web. It works pretty well with this build, however, Adrenaline Junkie is going to rely on grenade kills as opposed to melee kills, but I would still get that additional void damage and be able to break those void shields without having to use Arbalest ammo. I also have a PvE Palindrome ready for Unstoppable Hand Cannon, just in case I'm either getting absolutely obliterated when I try to run up and do a charged melee to stop it, or if my teammates need help with it. And my heavy weapon is again another obvious choice, Taipan 4FR. Anybody that's been playing since Witch Queen came out can craft it. If you don't have this weapon crafted, you can find it in a quest on the left side of the crafter at the Enclave. This thing is nuts. It's void. It's going to do additional void damage. I also have this to fall back on if I need to break any shields. So that's been a quick breakdown of what I'm going to be running for Insight Terminus GM. I will most likely do a video like this each week to break down the different options and things that I plan to run. Hopefully it helps you get an idea of what you can run for GMs with Hunter. Not every single person has to run Invis. Invis is so boring to me. I will literally do everything that I can to not have to run it, including switching to Titan, like I'm sure many people will be running, or Warlock. But for now, I'm going to be trying Arc Hunter, and I'm super excited about it. We stream every day but Tuesdays and Thursdays at twitch.tv/strasner. If you guys would like to come and check out any of the runs, we'll be doing them a lot this week.